Coming to you live from the Attol in the middle of the ocean somewhere, it's the 10 Point Podcast. The future. The podcast ice caps have melted, covering the earth with podcasts. Those who survived have adapted to this new world. And that's it. There wasn't any more intro than that. I couldn't change any other words. My name is Bruce. Setting sail with me on the 10 Point Podcast ship today are a right pair of smokers. First, he's a fluke of evolution, it's Chris.
I'll take that.
And secondly, he's like a turd that won't flush, it's Andy.
Nice.
Not much in the way of insults in this film for me to use either. We are the 10 Point Podcast. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, whether it be Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, or every downcast, upcast, left, right, down, up, middle casts that you get your podcast on. You can get us anywhere. Chris was trying to model our mug for the YouTube viewers there, but it disappeared as he was doing it. But as I say, we're on YouTube as well. You can find this 10 Point Podcast on YouTube. Do subscribe and like and put all your comments underneath the videos that you have as well. Abuse us or praise us, whichever one floats your boat there.
No, you know what we should totally get? We should get an OnlyFans page. I hear there's money in that.
I don't think people want to see us.
Contact us at 10pointpodcast.com with what you would like to see on our OnlyFans website.
We could do that AMRS bullshit. Okay, I never get that right. AMRS. Is that one?
ASMR?
Whatever.
Letters in some sort of order, yeah.
Oh, the whispering one.
The one where people jack off to people talking quietly. That could be us. I wonder if people are doing that to us right now.
Maybe I'll do like a slowly open a can for you next time.
You should.
Yes, check out 10 Point Podcast and send us emails and contact us on there. Donations welcome as well if you enjoyed Chrissy's little bit of ASMR, whichever order it is, AMSR. Also, we've got articles and reviews and reports and what our favourite crisps and stuff like that goes up on 10 Point Podcast as well. .com. Everything there. Do get in touch if we want to hear from you. What have we been watching in the last week, though, lads? Chris, how about you, lead us off? What have you seen in the last week?
The only film I've actually watched this week was Matrix Reloaded. It was on TV the other night, and I thought,
second one?
Second one, yeah.
I get them confused.
Reloaded? Revolution. Yeah, Reloaded, second one. It's definitely weaker than the first one, I think, but it was on TV, so I thought I'd watch it.
Andy, you're a staunch Matrix person. How does the Matrix Reloaded sit with you?
I quite like it, but the special effects do not hold up, whereas the first one holds up still. But yeah, the second and third one, the effects are a bit over the top, and Bendy Pull always gets me every time.
I've never made it to the third Matrix film. The second one's always where I've stopped, so that must say something about it. But it's in the next year till Matrix 4, is that right? We've got a year ago?
Next May, I think.
There we go. I might get around to watching the third one. Anything else, Chris, or was that your highlight with Matrix?
No, I've been catching up on TV series like Parks and Recreations and stuff.
Okay. What about you, Andy? What have you watched in the last
I watched everything. The nice studios have been giving me loads of preview screenings and stuff like that, so we might not get them in the UK at the moment, but I've definitely seen them. Ones to avoid from the big companies, the new Bruce Willis film, Cosmic Sin, don't fucking bother. It stars my boy Frank Grillo, Bruce Willis, and a bunch of other people that you'll know.
Lana from WWE is in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in it.
But the trailer, if you watch it, it'll make you want to watch this film. The trailer's absolutely amazing. Just leave it there. And the first 20 minutes of the film, pretty damn good. But then just leave it there. If you've gone that far, just stop. Because it does not get better and it goes to shit. So don't watch that. The new Disney, Raya and whatever the hell it's called. I can't remember the last bit.
I've forgotten. Last Dragon? That was a dragon.
That probably best film I've watched this week. Absolute banger. Best Disney animation I've ever seen, like visually. Story's basically the same as every other Disney film. There's a review on the 10 Point Podcast at the moment. So head over to the website and see the full review, but definitely worth a watch. It's worth your 20 quid. Or just wait 3 months and it'll be free anyway on Disney. I'm pretty sure I watched something else, but I cannot remember what else I watched.
Something else, Andy, because I also watched something for the first time, I think, in maybe ever. You and I watched separately the same film that wasn't the podcast film. We both watched Coming to America.
Oh, that's right. I watched Coming to America.
You also watched Coming to America as well.
Yes,
like, Coming to America. But
that film.
How did you find the first one?
The first one, absolutely love. That's a classic. It's got black comedy done right, I would say. That's the best way to put it up. Eddie Murphy, not too Eddie Murphy, just enough Eddie Murphy. Everybody else in it's brilliant, and it's just a good feel-good film from the
It
80s.
feels like a family film. It's weird. It's like a family fun story. Like the whole thing's about the story, but they just swear a lot in it, so that makes it not a family film. But if you just took out all the swearing, it would totally be one you could sit down with. It's
And
like,
cleaning
oh,
of the
it's
royal
like,
penis.
yeah, yeah, well, that, I guess so as well. But the fish out of water story of the king from another country coming and just trying to adapt to America. It's like George of the Jungle or any of these other ones, but
Yeah,
it's just Eddie Murphy and other people swearing a lot in it. But yeah, I'd never seen it before, and I
but
watched it because the new one
the,
came
the
out, and I very
second
much
one,
enjoyed it. You watched the
yeah,
new one, yeah.
the second one, I've heard a lot of people saying that don't watch them back to back or it'll really take it away. I literally watched them back to back, and I love the second one. It looks like the same film. It looked like it was made 30 years ago. Everybody's not aged. They all look
You mean that in a good
identical.
way, of course.
Oh yeah, it's like Eddie Murphy probably looks younger in the second film than he does the first one. It boggles the mind how that happens, but it's
I've
definitely
heard
worth a watch.
that Wesley Snipes absolutely steals the show in it.
Yes, Wesley Snipes. Who knew? We've said it many times that Wesley Snipes can't act. He definitely can act and Coming to America too.
What a comeback after my White Men Can't Jump review last week as well. He's making a career comeback here,
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes. Any others, Andy? Was that your
No, that was
weekend
it.
movies?
That was the week.
I jumped back on the Rocky train after Rocky 5 soured me to the whole thing. I watched Rocky Balboa this week, and it's bang average. It's a comeback story, I don't know, 10 years after the rest of them. Not worth your time, but now I'm ready for Creeds. I'm going to watch the two Creeds at some point soon, so I'll get onto them. But my big movie of the week was Spree, one I recommended to Andy last year, and he really liked. I finally got around to watching it. It was on Netflix, so I'll put it on, and I very much enjoyed it. And I thought, I kind of knew what it was going in because I did Andy's review of it. But yeah, very, very much enjoyed it. David Arquette being funny in the 3 or 4 scenes that he's in it. But the main guy, whose name escapes me at the moment, but the guy from
Stranger Things dude.
All right, yeah.
Dude, the babysitter dude, Steve. He was very good. The whole thing is carried on his back, and a lot of unexpected moments. I wouldn't say twists exactly. There are a couple of twists in it, but yeah, it's a good film to not know what's coming, and everything being actual stationary cameras in cars and all that didn't annoy me too much.
I like that. I don't like shaky cameras and like Blair Witch cameras, but that's the stationary camera stuff. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Gives me the book after a while when it starts bobbing about.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, this one doesn't.
Give it a thumbs up, and I recommend you watch it. It might be a bit violent to some, but to my taste,
kids will love it. Chris, watch it.
They might not be in a hurry to get a taxi soon.
Well, I don't know. They're scared of Ghostbusters. I imagine they'd be scared shitless of this.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And there you go. That was our week in movies for the last week. Quite a few options there. But on to the point of the podcast today. The reason we are here, point number 1 is, what is the point? The 1995 action-adventure sci-fi film Waterworld is why we're here today. Brought to us by Universal Pictures in cooperation with The Gordon Company, Davis Entertainment and Lichtmuller Film Corporation. And
that's made up.
Made sure to make note of Lichtmuller. You say that, they've been involved in, I think it was about half a dozen films, one of which was Idle Hands.
Hey, boy!
On the podcast. Once again, us shoehorning in Devon Sawa one way or another onto
that guy's got a career comeback. He's in the new Chucky series and everything. Yeah. Good old Devon Sawa.
But I thought I'd make mention of that because obviously Universal, I've done Universal films before, but I saw Idle Hands, so I'll make point of that. However, Waterworld. Another thing, I will call it Westworld by accident at this point, so I just won't if I ever call it Westworld. Waterworld, directed by Kevin Reynolds, who does not have a hell of a lot of directing credits, as in the biggest one before Waterworld was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. You can see a kind of a theme, a trend there. And afterwards, he directed The Count of Monte Cristo and Risen, 2 films that I'm not exactly. And I've heard the name The Count of Monte Cristo. I don't know Risen at all, but they were the 4 highlights of his directorial career, Kevin Reynolds. Not a lot to his name. Waterworld, written by Peter Rader, who is mostly famous for writing Waterworld and another film called The Last Legion. But he also co-wrote with David, I think it's Twohy. It's not the most ordinary of names for me to try and say. David Twohy, who has written things along with Waterworld. He had The Fugitive beforehand, and afterwards G.I. Jane, and then Pitch Black, The Chronicles of Riddick and Riddick are the big names he wrote. So he does have a certain type of movie. He likes an action blockbuster, does David Twohy. The film itself, The Waterworld, starring Kevin Costner. A big list of movies here. Kevin Costner from The Untouchables, Field of Dreams, Dancing with Wolves, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, JFK and the Bodyguard, and then he made Waterworld, and then followed up on that with Tin Cup, The Postman, 13 Days, and then Man of Steel, Draft Day, Molly's Game, and very recently Kevin Costner's been in the Yellowstone television series that I have not seen, but he's been in, I think he's the main character, been in a lot of that. Kevin Costner, a famous face, and that run essentially of Dancing with Wolves, Robin Hood, JFK, Bodyguard, Waterworld, Tin Cup, The Postman is a very 1990s. They were a lot of big time films, I guess, in the 90s. Success to be determined, I would say. And co-starring Kevin Costner in Waterworld, we have Dennis Hopper, who has, in my research, 205 acting credits to his name.
It's ridiculous.
205 things.
I don't think he was in that much.
No, everybody says the same. He just
He's only memorable
appears.
for a couple things.
Yeah.
Well, you say that. He died in 2010, so therefore he's not had anything beyond that. But obviously, IMDb kind of does reuse clips, so he's been in his acting credits have been a few since then. But he was in Rebel Without a Cause in 1955 with James Dean, all the way through to like things I say a few years ago because they've used him. But his big things were Easy Rider, True Grit, the original version, Apocalypse Now, Blue Velvet, Super Mario Brothers. I made sure to mention that.
Hey, boy.
Speed, and then Waterworld's kind of the last big thing he was in. He was he was never the star, nor was anything particularly good that he was ever in after Waterworld. So yeah, Dennis Hopper. Speed might have been the peak of his career in my eyes, but yeah, 205 things, but nothing actually that massive. He's more of a kind of famous face than he is a kind of respected actor in terms of the stuff he made. Waterworld, this is the important stuff, on a budget of $175 million in 1985. It opened in the US, $21 million on its opening weekend.
Squeaky bum time.
Final US gross, $88 million. Taking quite a hefty loss. Worldwide, bearing in mind its budget 175, worldwide gross 264 million. So it actually was a money earner. I don't know if that includes the advertising. We know sometimes the advertising sways out, but it doesn't seem to have been too gigantic a money loser. But I could be wrong. I don't know if anyone's researched any stats that tell me otherwise. But
Nope.
A big budget and a reasonably big return. Released 28th of July 1995 in the US and a couple months later everywhere else. Award season 1996 once again, because we keep coming back to 1995. Waterworld
sounded familiar.
Waterworld was nominated for an Oscar. It was nominated for Best Sound at the Oscars, but lost to Apollo 13. Waterworld was also nominated for a BAFTA in 1996 for Best Special Effects, and also lost to Apollo 13. And then we come to the 1996 Razzies, where Waterworld had 4 nominations at the Razzies. Nominated for Worst Supporting Actor, Dennis Hopper.
Oh, what?
And he won. He actually was Worst Supporting Actor of 1996.
Chris is walking off. He's done.
According to the Razzies.
Just Morgan it. Savage that is.
Second nomination, Worst Actor, Kevin Costner. He lost, though. He did not win. He lost to Pauly Shore from Jury Duty.
Hi.
Which probably rightfully
Yep.
so, yeah.
I've never seen it, so no.
Third nomination, nominated for Worst Director. And this is literally what it says. Worst Director, would be like Westworld. Not there we go. Waterworld. Kevin Reynolds with more than a little unasked assistance from Kevin Costner. That's the official nominee for Worst Director. For Waterworld, lost to Paul Verhoeven for Showgirls, because it was the Showgirls year,
Yeah.
meaning that Waterworld was nominated for Worst Picture and did not win because Showgirls won that as well.
Saved it.
Yes, saved it. So I think Waterworld may have just about cleaned up had it not been for Showgirls. Every other award that Waterworld won was just for high box office returns around Europe. So on the one hand, that's all it won. On the other hand, at least it did get some high box office stuff in Europe. Germany and Austria and I think the Czech Republic were the countries that come to mind. So it did win some awards. Obviously, it lost a few Razzies, if you want to put, or nominees. But Dennis Hopper, Worst Actor of the Year. We'll see how that suits once we get to the end of the film. Synopsis for Waterworld. Nearly got the Westworld again. Daniel has written this one, and I will read what he says. In the future, the Earth is engulfed with water when the polar ice caps melted, leaving the lands and civilization beneath the sea. In Waterworld, drifters sail across the waters of the world on their man-made ships, trading for supplies and salvaging what is left of civilization. Communities of survivors live in towns called atolls, and a force of evil pirates, the Smokers, travel across with Waterworld, I nearly did it again, in search of a mystical island called Dryland. Arriving at an atoll, a mysterious drifter without a name, called the Mariner, strange way to put it, is sentenced to death when the community discovers he is a mutant. When the atoll is attacked by the Smokers, led by the evil leader Deacon, a woman named Helen and her adopted daughter Enola bribe the Mariner to take them to dry land, believing the Mariner has been there. But the Mariner, Helen, and Enola are pursued by Deacon and the Smokers. When the Mariner learns the tattoo on Enola's back is in reality a map that will lead them to dry land. That was Waterworld. Which version did we all watch? I watched the Blu-ray version, not the extended version.
Yeah, standard version.
Yep, just the original. Apparently there is another one, but I didn't realise.
Yeah, I found out that the extended version was a fan-made film that Universal liked so much, then they gave them all the footage and then made that into a cut, and it's the Ulysses cut.
Right, that the 2 hour 50-odd minute
Yeah.
version or something. I saw that noted somewhere. That's why I made sure to mention that it wasn't extended. Okay, so we all watched possibly the same version again. Chris, you picked it this week. Why don't you tell us why?
Oh, Andy did.
Got it.
That's from last week's notes. Don't get into it, my notes from last week. Andy, you picked this
Smooth.
last week. Why don't you tell us why you picked it? And I'll find it if Chris wanted to pick it as well. I don't know.
Chris definitely, he did. He was on his list, so I'll give you that. But yeah, it's a banger of a film. That's why I picked it. It's one of these childhood films I remember watching it going, this is amazing. Like, every single time I think of this film, I just think of that big smoker first battle. Like, less than 20 minutes in, and it's like the end finale.
Yeah.
And as a kid, that just sticks with you, so that's why I picked it.
This idea of it, when I watched it, I was like, this would be an awesome, like, theme park, which it actually is, isn't it?
Yeah,
It was. It shut down before I went,
it was.
pricks. It shut down 3 months before I went to Universal, and I was like, so I missed out on it.
Oh, that's a shame. And yeah, I believe I had seen a chunk of this film, which I know I'm positive I did, but I'd never seen the whole thing, and it's 2 hour 50-minute entirety.
Nobody can ever make it to the end. Everybody forgets the end.
Well, we'll get to it in a minute then. So I think Andy's already hit one, so we might go back to him straight away. Point number 2 on the podcast is the high points. Andy, why don't you continue on from where you were if you want to continue there?
Aye. Explosions and sets within the first 20 minutes. Like, I mean, proper end boss battle explosions and shit. Like, you can't argue with this film. Like, most films will tease a little bit of action, maybe five minutes of action. This is like a 10, 15 minute proper, I'm going to spend all my 125 million budget in the first 20 minutes of this film.
I bet they probably, I don't know if they filmed it in sequence, but I feel like they maybe filmed this bit and they were like, oh shit, we've spent like 100 million here. Can we get some more money?
Fun fact, that cost 25 million to build because they actually built that entire set. They didn't actually build it out to sea, that was using miniatures and stuff like that for the sea shots. But it was still built next to a marina and cost 25 million.
Didn't they have to get metal imported from other places because they just wiped Hawaii out of all the metal?
Yeah, pretty much. And then they made wood as well. Quite a lot of the metal is actually wood because they just ran out of metal and stuff like that. So that's like props is another high point, like props and sets and shit like that. Everything in this film, fun fact for you, the only bit of real CGI in this, other than the really shit monster, is Kevin Costner's hairline. He had a receding hairline, and basically wanted a bit of the budget to make it like CGI his hairline back in. So his hairline's actually CGI'd throughout, and was quite a big part of the budget.
Oh jeez,
that's like the highest of diva-ness, isn't it? I want my hair back. Put it in.
Well, Bruce gave a lot of credit to the director.
Worst hair.
Right, because Bruce gave a lot of credit to the director, but the director actually walked out halfway through this film because of Kevin Costner. And then Kevin Costner then took over. Then the studio wanted to get somebody else in, so they got Joss Whedon to come in. Joss Whedon then came in to do everything you see on the end ship stuff. So on the smoker ship. Joss Whedon wrote loads of stuff, loads of dialogue for that. Kevin Costner didn't like any of it, so I think one line stayed in. It's like one joke line that Joss Whedon wrote. That's the only thing that stayed in from his 6 weeks on set helping them finish the film, because Kevin Costner basically didn't want to listen to anybody. So that's a high point as well. Kevin Costner. What a ledge.
Just taking over.
Just
I
being a
want this.
prick.
I want that.
I'll let you guys
Yeah,
go with
I
some
have
high points.
I have to second I've got the attack on the atoll is quite definitely probably the most highest point in the whole film. The whole thing is great.
Why
I'd like
was
to
that
say-
Attol? What was that yellow shit he was getting dunked into? I never get this anytime I watch it.
Well, I think it's poop.
Of course, Andy would go there. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was like some sort of toxic shit, but
No, I think it's their sewage. It's where they just basically let things like rotten things so they can try and make like soil. So if you need to shit, you go into that little thing. If you need to put a body, you put it into that thing.
Get rid of
Fair
it.
enough.
I reckon it's just a sewage tank.
It does look like that. Yeah, I'd have to agree. Chris, have you got any other big high points on that particular high points on that on the attack on the city, or any other bits you want to mention there?
Not really. Like my first high point is like you've already brought it up. So it's the quick backstory. The polar caps have melted. Those survived have adapted. Boom, straight to the point. No fucking about. That's it. Straight to the film.
I've got even earlier than that. I do love it when the Universal logo ties into the film. Like
Yeah.
how it's Universal and then it zooms in and it's like, oh right, okay, that's what's happened here, and then the guy does these 2 lines of blur. But I'll tie back into this in my low points, so I will come back to this. But in terms of high points, I like it when it's Universal and then it's okay, now it's a bit of a different feeling to the opening. And the next thing I've got is it's definitely an Andy pick, which I should have noticed. It's like 2 lines below where I just made that mistake on my notes here. Definitely an Andy pick when the first thing that happens in the film is a man pissing.
Classic pissing.
bodily functions immediately.
But what aim does Kevin Costner have? Like, unbelievable. He's out at sea on a fucking boat, and I would say about 99% of it goes into the bottle.
Did not waste a drop.
I'll jump to it. While we're still talking about the kind of Attol bit, the twist that he's actually a mutant with gills and webbed feet. Like when I first watched it, my mind was blown.
Same here.
Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to be like evolve like that when I was a kid. I wanted to become like him.
A mutant fish man.
Yeah. Swim underwater.
I did not see that coming. That's one of my high points too. I did not see like Kevin Costner and all his handsome, full-haired glory being a mutant fish man that can swim and all this sort of stuff. Because it does, like the first scene, obviously he does go under the water, and then he comes back up again, and the guy's like, "I've not raided your boat," and so the timeline you're not exactly given all the evidence of what's happened timeline-wise. It like he must have been down there a while, and then you find out, he's actually a fish. But yeah. I liked it because it's not too overbearing, the fact that he's this weird fish guy. Like he just carries on like the hero in most action films after that.
So my other high point, right, and it's kind of generalization across it. It's not necessarily the actors, but characters. So I couldn't tell you any of the names because half of them didn't even have names, or just like Drifter or this and all that. But like every single one of them is super recognizable. Like the dude with the blonde hair. Like, he just stands out like a sore thumb, and he's like, he's a bad guy. You know he's a bad guy. You don't know his name. You don't really give a fuck. But he just looks like a bad guy or a porn star. It was 50-50.
Or both.
Yeah. And then it's just like Dennis Hopper as well. It's just like, hi, he looks like a bad guy. Everybody looked like the way they should, except from Kevin Costner, who he kind of looks like a good guy, but is a bit of a bell end throughout the film. And then the 2 women, like the little girl, like plays a little girl playing a little girl actually played a little girl really good. Because I find in films that little girls don't play little girls. But I felt like she did. And then the mum...
She wasn't too annoying.
Yeah, and then the mum was pretty good. Everybody had like... Thing is, remember none of their names at all. But you remember them all. Including the pilot.
I remember the mum and Enola and Helen.
I had to look up Helen's name. I had to look it up. I'll be honest.
But my actual high point is Jack Black stealing a random scene. And how old does Jack Black look? He looks way older than he did in like 1994, say this was filmed.
Yeah.
And like, look at him now. He probably looks younger now than he does back then.
It's like I knew he was in it because I looked at the cast to find out something else, and I'd spoiled myself. And then I think maybe the 3rd scene he was in, I was like, oh my god, that's Jack Black. I honestly didn't recognize him at the first 2 things he was in. Obviously, he's like a plane pilot, so I didn't really recognize him. But yeah, everybody's kind of like a cartoon character. They all have their own sort of unique costume and kind of look and all that. So very few of them actually kind of you could confuse them. Really, it's well done from that aspect. What about you, Chris? Any more high points?
I did have more, but I forgot to write them down. But my main one is the Deacon. Right. I like that despite him being a bad guy, he's actually a man of honor. He promised he wouldn't kill that guy, and he was like,
Oh, yeah.
Fine. And then he just hands it to the guy, and the other guy kills him. So
Genius.
He also added a bit of humour to it as well.
Yeah. One of my favorite,
unbelievable shot.
Yeah. One of my favorite scenes with him in it is when him and the porn star dude are in the car with no tires, driving to the Peter Gunn theme tune through their like shipping container. I don't know why, but it's fucking brilliant. Just throwing cigarettes at people.
It's when he goes to visit Enola when she's in the prison, and the big guys are, get these chains off these, you big bad animal, you.
Yeah. But yeah, Dennis Hopper, like, he really is like the most eccentric bad guy in this, and just brilliant in it.
And it does make up for the lack of it elsewhere. Kevin Costner's very, I don't know, straight and true, doesn't do anything too crazy, and the other main characters are kind of the same. So I think it really works. Personally, I haven't nominated him as a high point as such, but I think saying it was the worst supporting actor of the year is I don't think is a great take on it. In all
honesty. Yeah, definitely that porn star guy. He's definitely the one. He's shite. Which fun fact, he was the judge in the new Batman films.
He was, yeah. I recognise his face. I was like, I know him as well, so I had to look him up afterwards. My next high point, Andy's mentioned sets, but Kevin Costner's boat, or the Mariner's boat, it was an amazing piece of engineering. I thought it was incredible.
I wanted to nominate this at the end somehow, but it's not an inanimate object because it moves and does stuff.
No, that's an inanimate object. It doesn't have a life, you bell end.
I would say a boat is an inanimate object.
No.
The tank almost won until it became sentient.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you know the fun fact about that boat?
Yeah, I'd like to know. Tell us.
It was like a rich prince's boat that, for some reason, he went into financial problems and it went to auction. And the film company were like, "I'm buying that because it's like a really, really expensive type of boat to get."
Yeah.
And that's how they actually got it. So it was a rich, famous person, like we'll say a Saudi sheikh. I don't actually know the proper information, but it went on to auction, and then they bought it cheaper. That's why. And then they fucked around with it and made it look old and futuristic and whatever.
At the same time, yeah.
That was awesome.
Another unique thing. Like it did fit. Like it looked like someone very talented had knocked it together, and it had the special features like the spinny bit in the middle, and the fact that you just do this and everything goes woof.
And that almost killed Kevin Costner in one scene as well, because that's tied up and on. It put him against the mast and choked him out for a bit.
Oh, ouch. Yeah, painful. Anyone got any other high points? I've got one more, but I'll let somebody else go first if they want.
I don't think I do actually. Can't think of anything that's jumping to mind.
I'll hit my last one then. Just the rescue at the end, like on the Exxon Valdez, just pretty much one man killing machine going through everybody. I thought the finale was a good way. And then, as Andy says, more explosions, everything blowing up. It's good to have a nice big oil tanker that you could just blow up at the end of the film. I thought it was a good finale, especially after the middle of the film was kind of dipped a wee bit slow. It was a good bang to end out on. Yeah. So on that note, move on to low points, as I've just literally made a low point kind of symbol. Point number 3, low points, what we thought the worst bits were. Chris, what have you got as a low point?
I don't know if you agree with it, but I noticed like the sound kept dipping in and out, and it just sounded bad. You couldn't understand what they were saying sometimes.
That was just
had a bad.
Like your TV was tuned in wrong. No, I didn't notice that necessarily. In terms of sound, I've got weird Irish pedo drifter guy, because his Irish accent annoyed me, and Andy has mentioned this guy to me earlier, so he's about to mount the defence for him, but I thought the whole scene with the weird pedo guy I thought was unnecessary. So Andy, the defence.
Right. I'm not going to defend the pedo. However, I'll defend the actor, like Kim Coates. Like he has appeared in everything now, and people kind of recognise him from Sons of Anarchy and all that shit. But what a guy! Like he just plays weird, really, really well, and like it's the kind of pedo that we've had a lot of pedos in films the past few.
Somehow, I don't know why it keeps happening. We just keep picking them, don't we?
Yeah. So, but out of the lot, this is probably one of your nicer pedos. Like. He doesn't want to be a pedo. It's like
yes, he does.
But needs must.
Offered an adult. He goes, actually, I want the kid for a little bit longer.
You know, he was just asking the question, and he said no, and he was like, all right, okay, cool. Whereas the rest of the pedos that we've had in recent films, they've been proper pedos.
Oh, yeah.
I just love the way you guys says.
Shades of Leon.
Yeah, and I just love
Oh,
I love the way he says paper. That's such a good way of saying paper.
He did love paper. He was very excited. about
He's
paper.
definitely like our mate Bly. That's exactly who he's like.
Anyway, this was in the middle of the, like, I don't know, there's a 45-minute lull in the middle of this film that I didn't need. Like, I did not need this bit. And it comes after the weird bit where, I don't know how best to put it, Andy played a game a few weeks ago in the podcast, which was essentially Snog, Marry, Avoid. And Kevin Costner's presented with a Snog, Marry, Avoid situation on the boat where he wants to kill the little girl, but the woman's throwing himself at him, and he's like, I just want done with the two of yous and all this sort of stuff. And all that wasn't really needed. You just could have had them, we've escaped the city, we know the baddies are after us, and we'll just work together to survive. But they had to have this kind of anti-hero Kevin Costner storyline had to keep going through it, where if they just made him a bit more of a kind of hero, I think the whole thing would probably have worked better.
See, on that point, I've got like, I know you parents don't have any kids, but like, imagine you did, and your kid's just been kidnapped. What's the first thing that's going to go through your head? That's right. Let's play hide the sausage. She's like looked after that kid for years, and like she's just disappeared. And she was, you know what? I want to have some sexy time. It just, I don't know. It pissed me off.
I mean, it was more of a. The first thing to my mind would be I would go look for my child who I'd lost. So he's at this point, she's like, I need to look after her. So I will pay with what I have. This person who can protect her, I think, more than she wanted to play hide the sausage. It was more
Fun fact: you know the naked scene. That's not actually her naked. She looked through like 10 people, so she got 10 people into her trailer, like the actress that played Helen, to get them naked to see what they look like from behind, to see who closely matched her.
Chestnut.
And then she got 3, and then 3 of them went out, and then like she's actually behind the camera, and she wanted to like personally like rope them up and stuff like that. And it's when you're reading this fact, it's like she's a bit weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, she handpicked her butt double because
her own butt double. There you go. My next low point that
Yes,
I've
Chris.
got, and it may have been answered, but I'm not sure. Why can't the little girl swim?
probably she never learned.
Is that not a major oversight in a world that is literally water? Like,
Yeah, but
well, number one, are you alive? Yes, you're alive. Right. Number two, you need to learn how to swim because you will die in this world of water if you cannot swim. And
Well,
I'm
to
like,
be fair, I would die not because I can't swim, because I can't eat fish. So I would just die of starvation.
but you could drink your own piss.
it'd be. So you could drink your own pee.
I would have to.
Yeah. I mean, that was a major thing that's kept annoying me. It's like, at one point, she jumps into the water with Old Fishman, and I'm like, oh, here we go. He's going to teach her how to swim. But no, that doesn't happen either. I was like, just teach her to swim. It was so much easier if she could look after herself then.
Well, there was that weird, creepy teaching to swim scene, which, again, Kevin Costner turned into a kind of slight pedo, but we have a habit of these films.
Anyone else got a low point?
Yeah, the monster, the CGI monster. What kind of fucking fish was that?
Yeah.
Like after he gets eaten by whatever the hell it was, and then they're eating them afterwards, and they have like a little eyeball, it's like the size of a human. I thought like the whole monster would like
But
have an eyeball.
maybe it had multiple eyeballs.
I did think that, but I don't know.
I thought it was a giant crocodile, but then I'm not sure because it looked very crocodile-y. But then I've just got sea monster written down because I couldn't actually.
I thought it was kind of some sort of like whale shark. It's just been evolved into some, I don't know, killer.
Yeah, but I suppose he's a mutant man, so it could be a mutant crocodile or a mutant shark or something as well.
They could have just did a shark. I mean, there was a shark in the film previously, so.
I don't have many low points, but I've got a couple of things that have annoyed me in this film. So it's 2 things that annoyed me. One, and Chris didn't do this for the first time ever, the ending of this film really annoys me. Because what was the point? Like, how spoiler alert, they get to the dry land. It didn't look that...
no, this is my... Yeah, I know what you mean.
It doesn't look that safe to stay on. Like, there's no trees, it's just a bit of grass and a bit of rock. They are fucked. Like...
What?
Well, when it pans out, there's not, like, big, massive, like, vegetation, like ones like coconut trees and bananas.
They're
and
walking through trees.
No, but like, there's no food on them.
Horses galloping through trees,
Yeah, but there's just
and he
like,
finds the boat amongst the trees.
yeah, no, but there's like.
However,
Go on.
the parents sent her
Yeah.
away. So
Yeah.
Milo.
like, so if they were dying, it may not have been of starvation. They may have been of anything else. They thought she could go out whatever the hell they sent her with, whoever they sent her, rather than just let her stay on this.
This is what I
island
was getting at.
and
Yeah,
Whatever fruit there would have been there. So yeah,
that's what I mean. So
that's a good point.
so yeah, they find the same place that she got sent away from, and it can't be like sustainable. Because why did they send them away?
Yeah, exactly.
And you think it's gonna be happy ever
What I said is,
after?
like,
Eh?
on you go. I'll let you finish.
I was gonna say it's like a happy ever after, but it's like he wants to go back out. They can't repopulate with the people they got there. So what's the fucking point? Chris trying to do the math.
Probably could do that. The younger guy could have done it.
That old guy's way
They
too
could
old.
have, yeah, they could have slowly repopulated, but yeah,
But-
I think there was some interbreeding very quickly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The ending just
The
annoyed me.
thing
I
that
just-
annoys me. Oh,
I just
the bit that annoys me is like the one bit of land they land on just happens to be her parents' house,
yeah.
yeah,
and
but then
like obviously she's what 8. That's a lot of decomposition for like 8 years.
How do you know?
I don't know.
Sea wind.
Going by the mummy, that guy was fucking moist after like hundreds of years.
But the other ultimate thing that annoyed me, and it's a great scene, but I don't understand why he's there. The little guy in the oil tank when he's just there in his little boat, little milky dude. But why? Why is he
How
there?
much oil they've got?
You know, but like, can they not just
That
put a
little
stick
stick.
down and check it every time by themselves?
yeah, exactly.
Why is he living down there?
And the fact that does Dennis Hopper try to throw like
Yes.
a flaming thing into like he tries
Ah, that was one of my high points. I was like, on your toes, like it.
if that goes, that's all of his oil, is it not? Like that's valuable and essential to his little.
And I'm
crew
pretty
here.
sure that's blowing up everything, as we found out. That's what Kevin Costner pretty much did at the end.
yeah. So not a great oversight on his part either. No. On Dennis Hopper's plans, this might step on our nominees later on. So the bad guys go to this little station thing, knowing the mariner and the girl, they're coming this way. We'll go take over this little station thing, and they'll think it's safe, and then we'll get them when they come close. So they go in, they kill everybody on the station, and then use them as puppets. Instead of
Genius.
just pretending to be the people who work there, they could just put we'll put on the hat and we'll put on the costumes. Like, hey, come here, come closer, and all that. No, we'll all hide in the corner and then just wire everybody up and pretend and
But-
they'll wave with their hand because from a distance they'll know it's not us.
But then leave half of them hanging at the bottom, so when they get close, fuck, the people are hanging themselves.
Exactly. It was just an absolute disaster of a plan.
That is just a random little point that I've just thought of now. Do you know that thing when people got like a telescope and they go like that and then they see something, pan past it, then go back?
Yeah.
Like you would, if you saw something, you'd stop and go, "Oh wait, mate, there's somebody there." Not pan past it, then do the, "Oh shit, there's somebody there."
It's a very small nitpick little point.
Yes.
I teased this earlier, so I better go into it now. I said earlier I really like the Universal logo kind of turning into the Waterworld. So I don't know, halfway through the film, in the middle of the dip, she finally learns, dry land doesn't exist at that time because he swims down to the ocean floor, and this massive twist is revealed that the whole world is beneath the water. Actually, this planet has flooded before. What a massive twist that you told to us in the beginning of the film. If they just hadn't had the Universal logo do that, or even have the guy talking at the beginning, it would have been like, oh, here we go, we're on this water planet and blah, blah, blah. And it's, oh my god, the whole time they're above this old civilization, which was ours, the old Planet of the Apes reveal. Would have worked way better as an actual twist in the middle of the film rather than spoiling it an hour in advance. It really annoyed me that the twist they were sitting on that they could have had, but they didn't use it.
Yeah, I agree. That was going to be my next one.
I'm out of low points.
Me too.
Oh well, okay. The bungee jump at the end is a bit silly. That's another low point. And my last one, the film is way too long, and that's not the extended version. You could chop easily. It should be half an hour shorter. It should be an hour and 3/4, not 2 1/4. Anyway, like there's half an hour. Just get rid of it. And even then, that might still be too long because there's a lot of nothing happening. But yeah, my major low point is it's not bad. It's just there's too much of it. I don't need this much. So that's my final low point. I don't know if anyone wants to argue or defend or agree or anything. But
Nah.
There's a lot of lulls that they could have done without.
there we go. Thank you. So one of each. On to point 4 on the podcast. Point 4 is our stats. I know Andy has been playing little clips here and there. So Andy, what do we normally say around this time?
I thought I heard a shit.
You did, in fact. You heard 5. 5 in this film. There were 5 shits, said by various characters at various times. I have no more information on the shits. But Andy, did you hear any shits?
Well, like I said, we've covered a bit of the shit where I think that is their shit pit. However, if it is not their shit pit, and each one of them have, say, a little house around, like the, whatever it's called, can't remember, the Attol thing.
Attol, yes.
So imagine if each one of them have a little house, and they're going to have a hole probably into the sea, right? How many floaters is there going to be around that place? Because it's got to go somewhere, and it's going to be bobbing around. It's not a good first impression. Yeah. Open the gates and all these jobbies just float out to sea.
Yeah, that's the worst thing. Either outside, stopping people coming close, or you're keeping it contained in like the pool in the middle.
So I didn't see anybody having a shit. There was definitely the piss at the start, but yeah, where they poop's going to confuse me because I reckon there's a lot of floaters in that Waterworld.
And on top of that, does Kevin Costner just squat over the side of his boat after he's eaten a sea monster? Is that just like you're just off the edge of the boat, or do you jump into the water?
That would be a nice little like added point if you just seen a skinny down the side or something like that where he's just kind of missed it. It's just
no.
If just you see a distance shot, and you see like that's the corner. It looks like rust, but it's not. That's where he poops off the side.
Okay, right.
I wish you make a movie just to see all your attention to detail, sort of skid marks everywhere.
But where do they go to the toilet? Every scene. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Other swears. There was an F-bomb in this film.
I thought I heard an F-bomb.
In the plane.
That's next season.
I think it's...
Chris just gave us a sound bite. I thought I heard an F-bomb.
Yes, you did. Kind of. They sneakily tried to kind of drown it out with gunfire and planes and all that stuff, but there was in fact an F-bomb in there. There was one. That was the only other swear there was. Explosions, 41, but like 30 odd of them was the ship at the end. There was a few in the battle near the beginning, but most of it at the end. But 41, most of the thing is water, so there wasn't too many explosions. Deaths, 45 plus however many people died on the Exxon Valdez at the end, because there was a lot of people there, and after they all died, I wasn't going to go back and count everybody on the deck, so probably 250, let's say, roughly 250-ish in terms of deaths. But yeah, certainly 45 I counted. Was there a dead animal in this film? Yes, there was. The giant sea monster. It got killed.
Oh, there was a shark
keeping
as well that was already dead.
Shark. Oh yeah, there was dead shark as well. And the bonus thing I counted, which I'd never seen this whole film, so I just had to pluck it in my head. I wasn't going to count water. There's a lot, if you did want me to count that for you. The number of times that Kevin Costner jumped or fell into water in this film, which was 9 times he jumped or fell into water, and then 1 time into the goo. I don't know if that's enough water to be counted as water, so maybe 10 if you want. And did they say the thing? Did they say Waterworld?
Once, I think.
Yeah, I think they do. Two?
Oh, it's 1. You're correct.
It was one.
Very much a shoehorn in. They stayed in the thing so we can put it in the trailer. So yes, there was 1 Waterworld at one point. Chris, stats.
I might be wrong, but I think I counted 22 boats.
Ah, good one.
But it was the Attol kind of confused me because there's a lot of boats that's bobbing about, and I thought they all kind of looked similar, so I lost track of how many boats were there. But I didn't count jet skis. I didn't count them because they're technically not a boat.
Well, jet ski is technically a brand.
What were they called?
It's a moped for water. It's not a boat.
Very good.
It's a water ski.
Any others?
No, that was the one I counted.
What about you, Andy? Any stats?
No. Don't count
In that
shit.
case, on to point 5, the TVP quiz. And Quizmaster Chris, let's see if it, I don't know, we get some involvement unlike last time.
Bruce kind of ruined it at the start, but we'll try it. I might be the only one that gets confused between Dennis Quaid and Kevin Costner. So,
Oh God.
This is whose film is who.
Right.
So, but Bruce should absolutely nail it since he rattled half of the films off at the start. So we'll start with Bruce. Day After Tomorrow.
Quaid.
Correct. Andy, Tink Up.
Costner.
Correct. Bruce, Dragonheart.
Oh, I've never heard of that. I'm gonna guess Quaid.
Oh, good guess. Andrew, Jaws 3D.
Quaid.
Correct. Bruce, Field of Dreams.
Costner.
Yeah. Andy, Parent Trap.
Quaid.
Correct.
Oh.
I've kind of done this wrong. Bruce, Man of Steel.
Costner again.
See, I went for a film I didn't think you'd actually pick up on. Andy, Dances with Wolves.
Costner.
Bruce, G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe. Quaid.
Right.
Yes.
Andy, Rumour Has It.
Costner.
Oh, I thought I might have got you. Bruce, Footloose.
Quaid.
Mm-hmm. And Andy, JFK.
Costner.
Correct. So one more. You've got to both kind of guess. Wyatt Earp. For some reason I had 13, not 12.
Costner.
I know the answer. Yeah, it's Costner. Yeah.
Yeah, you had either one of them because they're both in it.
All right.
Are they?
There you go. You draw it again.
Did we run the whole thing? Did we make it all right?
Yeah.
Win-win.
I thought if you hadn't rattled off so many films at the start, it might have been a bit more challenging.
I'll be honest. I scrolled up to them. I thought, nah, I'm trying to remember them. I didn't actually cheat.
You totally
but
cheated.
yeah,
I didn't.
a lot of them I didn't write down. In fairness, I think it was only maybe 4 of them I wrote down. But yeah, a good one, Chris. But yeah, I did kind of ruin it. I'm sorry. But yeah, it showed our great knowledge though. Andy's Dennis Quaid. Is it Dennis Quaid? Dennis Quaid and Kevin Costner knowledge was.
I know.
The winner
I've seen
there.
every film since Die Hard, so it was easy.
There you go. Well done, Andy. On to point 6 then, and we'll show off more of our movie knowledge. Movies within movies. For me, I always pick up on the parodies and references and other things that jump out at me. So, films that came before Waterworld that I noticed in this one were Mad Max 2, Aliens, The Terminator, The Blues Brothers, Silence of the Lambs, The Lion King, and Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park was like literally that dry land. That's Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
There's definitely a T-Rex on that island somewhere. And the films that came after it that I've taken things from this, I've got Captain America. I can't remember why I've got Captain America. But Captain America, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. That's because of the old wonky eye guy. I know it's a wonky eye. Yeah, wonky eye. And then Pirates of the Caribbean. I think each one of the Pirates of the Caribbean films has got like something from this in it of all the Pirates of the Caribbeansies. Chris, over to you. What you got movies of the movies wise?
Well, the only person I can notice make a return, and I nearly missed it because she's a lot younger, is Tina.
Hey, we thought you were going to miss.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
We thought you were going to fuck this
I
right
wonder
I
up.
thought she had been in Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah. I did not know that she was her. Like I thought, I've kept quiet. I'm going to nominate her in 2 points times. I had no idea she was the little girl in this film. So yeah, and at the end I was like, oh my god, that's who she is. And so I had it written down in case you'd forgotten. But yeah, that's the only silver that I could spot.
Yeah.
Have you got any recasting ideas?
Well, this is a tough one. It could be anyway. But Andy is the deacon.
Yep, I've got that.
I put Bruce as the mariner, and I'll be the mad scientist with hot air balloon.
I've literally got the same 3 things. I've got him as Dennis Hopper, but I've made you the mariner because I feel like you, family man, you dealing. I can imagine all the stories you tell us about you and your kids having this. I don't know.
You definitely chuck them off the
relationship that
boat.
You have. You're definitely cutting the hair off them, I think, if they don't behave. So
I would chuck them in water if they had water wings on.
But I've also got me as old guy and blimp. So I just cast myself as that. So
Yeah.
once again, we've picked the same 3 characters out. But the master of movies and movies is Andy. So Andy, what have you got movies and movies wise?
This one was pretty simple. So it starts off just your everyday guy who gets a gold Rolex and becomes evil and tries to blow up Keanu Reeves on a bus. Who you think he's dead, but he's not. What actually happens is he goes down like a sewer because he was like kind of dead and underground and becomes King Koopa, where he has to fight the Mario Brothers for no apparent reason. And once again, we know when you blow up Dennis Hopper, he does not die. So after coming back into Earth's reality, the world was fucked, full of water, but he landed on a nice shipping container full of fags and became Deacon. That's cigarettes in the UK.
This is his next return because he did blow up, so he was not actually dead.
Exactly.
But you can't blow him up.
You can't blow him up. They've tried to blow up Dennis Hopper in many films, and he doesn't seem to die.
It's unblockable.
Always comes
Very
back.
good. We'll stick with you, Andy, because it's point number 7, and I don't know what it is.
It's basically becoming my hypothetical section now. So
Okay.
this one is going to be mostly aimed at Chris because I've got a couple of hypotheticals for him. So, Chris, imagine you're not a married man. You've been at sea for a very, very, very long time. Then
Right.
you turn up, and some old elders want you to shag their daughter and give you all their riches and stuff like that. What do you do?
If I'm single, yeah, take it.
That's the bit I don't understand. Why did he not do it? Like,
He just likes to be a loner.
yeah, or like, I kind of had this whole thing as, did he not want to do it because he would make more mutant babies, or because it seemed like they were offering him a pretty good deal. They just wanted some of his seed, and he gets everything.
Well, maybe that's why, yeah, actually, I never thought of that. I did like the automatic reaction. He doesn't want to take her. Why? He's about to say, he's a spy!
Yeah,
There's no in between. Maybe it's just like, oh, maybe he's already got somebody. No, he's a spy!
it's just a weird.
Never
And Bruce-
fallen for it in the past. That's what carry
Right,
on.
you're hypothetical.
Mhm.
If you're on a shipping container, because we know Chris from our previous dreams likes shipping containers, hence the reason why
of
I
course, yeah.
switched this round. So you're on a shipping container full of cigarettes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
What do you do with the women? Like, what have you done with them, Bruce?
It's a good point. It's very much a sausage party on that ship, isn't it?
Like, what happened?
I didn't touch them. Nothing to do with me. I don't know. I don't know why you're coming to me. I'm not like the press officer for the Exxon Valdez in Waterworld. Like, they haven't found that one yet. None of them have found that one special lady. I don't think that must be what it is. But yeah, I don't know where all the women have gone. Like, do they just not survive well on boats? It seems
I
to
don't
be like,
know.
I don't know. Half
Well,
a dozen
that's
of them
like-
in the world.
One of the, what's it called? The superstitions. You don't have women on boats
Is that right?
back in the day. I learned that from the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So that must be it. They're all just, we're better off not having it. It'll be a disaster if we get them here.
It does seem that way, but yeah. I just like, you would have some women on that boat, wouldn't you? You got your cigarettes.
I noticed one. That's when he's getting his eye painted. There's a lady
Yeah.
there.
You got your cigarettes. You got your Jack Daniels. There's a lack of women on that boat.
Unless they're all like the women in Mad Max Fury Road, they're all like milking somewhere for like the babies, and he's got a big tanker full of I don't know
Milk.
water.
It's not actually.
yeah, it's milk. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe I really crossed over with Mad Max. Some good hypotheticals there, Andy. I will try and rename your point 7 as your hypotheticals now, going forwards. On to point 8 though, which is our nominations for the 10-Point Podcast Awards at the end of the season. I'll let you go first, Andy. I feel like you
I'm
might
going.
have a few,
I'm
so
definitely going
you
first here. So I've got a few. Right. Worst plan. Right. If you've got a massive minigun, machine gun type thing on a boat, you definitely need a safety cutoff that isn't a bunch of young boys waving flags, especially when you know that shit you can't see because there's so much black suit that covers the guy that's shooting it up. Like, because that must have happened before, because that guy knows to wear eye protection. He knew to wear a full-on mask. He had like even a little wiper to wipe it halfway through. So they've all known. But I know, we'll wave some flags to stop him. And then have Dennis Hopper just try and shout at the guy like his name wrong. He's miles away on the boat.
Mary Hatches to Charles.
It's
whole
definitely
process,
up.
I'm just going to shoot until I run out of bullets. I'm not actually going to be able to see what I'm doing, but the only possible action is to just keep going. There's no way I should stop was a bad idea.
It's definitely a lot of worse plans. And then up there with the other worst plans is, let's make an escape. I'll get on my boat and I'll go into the very tiny little runway you've got, like I get in his boat to the gate, but the gates are still shut.
Yeah.
Plan should have been, I'll open the gates and then we'll get my boat and go. But
Yeah, exactly.
he's got like the fastest boat in Waterworld, but he's already set it up and the gates are not opened. Other
That's
stupid
another thing
plan.
happened. He has a fast boat, evidenced by, at one point, there's a plane chasing them. And then Helen or whatever's like, can we outrun it? How does he not snap round and go, of course we can't, it's a plane. Like, what are you talking about? That has to be the worst lie. I don't know if we've got worst lie or stupidest question.
That literally brings me on to another worst plan in this film. I know, I'll shoot a harpoon gun that's cabled, like, tied to this boat at a fucking plane, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they were on a bad streak at this point. Our heroic trio here. Bad decision after bad decision after bad decision.
So yeah, there's quite a few worst plans. Some of my other ones is Dennis Hopper just absolutely stealing the show as, I don't know, most charismatic character in a film. Or best bad guy.
I want to rename it as like the best bad guy. Because he was a bad guy. He was a great bad guy, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's
Worst
definitely
villain, so I can put best villain.
Yeah, he's definitely up there with just the best villain. He's just, his plans are mostly there, like they're a little bit flawed, and I reckon you get a bit of sea dementia or whatever there. But yeah, his plans 99% of the time are flawless. It's just that 1% that fucks him every time.
He just takes it a little too far. You could stop at one point, but it's like, no, we'll just kill everybody.
Yeah,
And then we'll tie them up. Instead of just leaving them alive to work for him.
Who else I'm going to nominate? I'm going to say like Kevin Costner. He's kind of like a good anti-hero. Like, he is shit all the way through the film, but him being shit makes him a good actor. And it's a weird one. I don't know how to think it. It works. And I don't know, you put anybody else in that role, it wouldn't work. Because I kind of hated him through, and you're kind of meant to hate him.
Yeah, he's not meant to be this absolute hero the way it's presented.
Yeah.
I think it would have been better if he was, but the way he's presented is meant to be this, like say, this weird loner dude that you don't actually like.
But yeah, one of my last kind of nominees is best sets. He's definitely got best sets. So if I have to narrow it down, the Attol best set. Bosch.
Yeah, that's one thing. It has to be that $25 million worth. Yeah.
Yes, that's my big
that you,
nominees.
Yep. What about you, Chris? What have you got?
Well, I've gone for best actor, Dennis Hopper, but we've rebranded that. The boat for what is now an inanimate object.
Yeah, best inanimate object. Boat.
I googled what an inanimate object was, and it said things that doesn't move.
I think, of its own accord, I think.
Yeah.
Like, you have to move that boat. It doesn't. Well, I guess it would just move on its own, but the wind would move it.
The 10-point podcast, as long as it's not is it a sentient being?
Person.
Sentient, I would say that. Yeah. As long as it's not got its own mind. Yeah.
Best song, Peter Gunn.
Yeah.
The only song, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah. What a good taste in music he has.
Down to the floating city. Best twist, the fact that he's got gills and webbed feet. My worst plan was going deep sea diving and leaving an 8-year-old by herself. Literally 10 minutes after they've escaped that last little battle.
Yeah.
It did seem awfully close. That was another worst plan.
Worst CGI is the fish. Best death is little old man in the oil. He seemed so relieved and so happy about it.
He was actually so happy.
Yeah.
There's mine.
That's yours. Most unexpected, Deb from the Bowling Dynamite is the little girl. Did not expect her to be in there. Since it cost so much money, Kevin Costner's hair for worst hair. Sea Monster for the special effects. I've got Dennis Hopper, and then we'll work out where he's getting nominated. Dennis Hopper, I thought he was good, did not deserve the Razzie. Worst plan, I've got the puppets. Best animate object, the boat. Best twist, the fishman. Worst twist, the world is flooded. Oh, that's it. Oh my god. Best scene, the attack on the atoll. Worst supporting character is Helen. I just thought she was just a pain in the arse the entire time. Kind of like the Indiana Jones kind of tag along woman, just there to be shocked and annoying and just like, oh my god, we need to do this. Oh my god, what's that? To help us learn what's happening. Worst father figure, the mariner, because he essentially was a father figure to the girls out the film, and he was not a good father to her. As far as Andy didn't say this, most underused, Jack Black. I thought that was right in front of you there. Most underused. Jack Black.
See,
could have been in.
He wasn't famous back then at all, so that's why. Because I was going to put him in for best cameo, but retrospective cameo is pretty good.
Yeah. But I think if they'd used the we know what Jack Black is like. If they discovered, oh, you're like this, Jack, we could put you in a few bits more, and you could have been funny. I think if they'd found out who he was, he might have been better. But yeah, that's mine. We've pretty much all covered the same ones there. Very good. Point 9 on the podcast, the moral of the story. What lessons have been learned? Andy, what have you got as a lesson learned from Waterworld?
Water sucks.
Chris?
I think I've used this one before, but never help anyone because it just leads to trouble.
I thought you were going to say bitches be crazy because that's not what
They are crazy.
uh,
They do be crazy.
I was going to do a sea shanty, but didn't bother in the end. I thought
Ah.
it's already overplayed, so I've got my haiku. If you are searching for the holy promised land, check kids for tattoos. That was the moral of the story.
Don't check kids for tattoos.
All right, okay, don't do that. No, don't do that. It seems to work out well. But, 100.10, the 10-point rating. What we think of the film in the end, and what we score out of 10. I've forgotten what I normally say there. Andy, you picked. You get to go first. What was your score?
Right, this film is flawed. I do want to go and see the extended cut because I feel like there's bits missing, but the bits they kept in dragging the middle bit of it for no apparent reason. Everything else is pretty good. CGI is good. The story's okay, except from the spoiler at the start. And the ending sucks, but overall it is a solid film. It's a 7.
A 7. I'll go next because I keep going last, and I feel like it should be someone else's turn to go last. So I'll go in the middle. I thought it was good. I think it's over criticised, this film. I think because of the whole budget and the money and the changing and all that, but it is an action adventure sort of, I don't know, film. You can't criticise.
And they filmed it at sea. That's hard shit to do.
It's exactly difficult. And a couple of characters are annoying. A couple of characters could have been better. There is a massive bit that's too long. It doesn't. That's what loses most of the points for me. Is the bit where it's technically character building, but it's not really. But I've landed on a pretty solid 6 as well for Waterworld. I think it's as good as you can expect from this kind of film. So Chris, last score.
I've got to agree. I don't agree with all the bad reviews this film's got because it's not as bad as what everybody says it was. I mean, it's got the potential to be fucking amazing.
A TV series, that's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, can you imagine? But it's good, still good though. It's got a few bad bits, but I still think it's worth a 7.
7 from Chris. So I think very quickly that gives it that, which means the official score from the 10-point podcast on Waterworld is a 7. That's a pretty high score, I would say. Again, I think we all had a good time. So Waterworld 1995 scores a 7. And speaking of 1995, a little something extra I've thrown in here that the lads don't know about. This is the 5th film from 1995 that we have done, meaning that we can do the 10-point podcast best film of 1996 award
Only
season.
5? I thought you said like 8.
Andy picked 3 last season, and we have had this one, and the first season we had Tank Girl. So we have the 5 nominees for the 10-point podcast best picture of 1995, which would be our 96 award season, if you know what I'm saying. And they are as follows. The nominees: Tank Girl, Judge Dredd, Casper, Mortal Kombat, and Waterworld. They're all these picks from all the seasons. Does anyone have any thoughts on what they think is the best picture of those?
They all need to win.
Just discuss Waterworld. So,
And you'd be tight between Waterworld and Mortal Kombat.
Is that what you think?
I can't pick. They're all my babies.
Scoring. I know it's hard for you to pick between. In terms of scoring, myself and Chris have now both personal taste as Waterworld as being our favourite out of the 5 in terms of what we scored it at the time. Is that true, Chris? Would you agree that Waterworld is probably your favourite out of those 5?
I don't know. Yeah, I probably would do. I'm looking forward to the new Mortal Kombat. That could bump it up to a 10. Just a nostalgia.
First 10-point rating there.
Yeah, I think Waterworld's probably the best of the lot as well. Casper scored really highly for me compared to the rest. Like my scores for them is 4, 3, 5, 3, and then 6 for Waterworld. So my 5 was Casper, but I think I like this way better than Casper. So Andy, are your scores going to be true, or is there anyone that you particularly like more than the others out of the 5, if you remember them?
Nah, I'm pretty much holding whatever I said is what I said.
Whatever you said. That means that officially, unofficially, as it stands right now, Waterworld is our best film of 1995 because of its 7, beating out just Casper, which we all gave a 5.
It was the 5th element. I thought that was 95.
It did not count for the 1996 award season, which is how I categorised them. So this was our... if we held the awards in 96 at the moment, Waterworld would be the winner. And another special thing I've moved on to is this is the 3rd film that Andy's picked this season, if I remember correctly. He picked Blade Trinity, he picked Little Shop of Horrors, and this. And he says he's got a theme running through all 3.
Nice.
So I've got a couple of guesses of what his theme might be. I don't know if Chris has got anything lined up.
To be honest, I forgot he said he had a theme.
Right, okay, so my first guess is plants. Is that your theme?
Not plants. That's a good guess, though. There's plants.
He'd have been plant on his boat, and then obviously there was the
Is there a plant in Blade?
I thought
Yeah,
they were growing humans, so I was going to go growing things.
Right.
Maybe the humans kind of in the pack, so maybe that. I've gone for a gamble. I've gone the very Andy suggestion of, is it post-apocalyptic dystopian futures? Is that your theme?
No,
Is
that
what
was
your
season
theme for
1.
season 1? Right, okay. And then my last one, I don't know if this is a better one or not. Relationships between a human and a non-human.
That's pretty good as well, but no.
Ah, damn. Because obviously it's not a kind of a loving relationship.
No.
Seymour does like the plant in Little Shop of Horrors. There's a relationship there. But,
Fucking hell, who knew
They
I
were
picked yeah, they're pretty good picks, but none of them are the category.
none of them are right. Chris, any guesses?
No, I can't. I need to. I forgot he's doing a theme, so I'm going to have to go back and
Yeah.
think about it.
I'm not doing a theme, so
Yeah,
don't worry
currently
about
Chris is British balls.
That's right. Yeah.
You're not far away.
If it's just testicles, then I don't know what we're doing.
We'll find out in a couple of weeks.
Anyway, like I say, I don't have any theme. I'm picking things for a different reason, and it is my pick next. I have got that right. It was Andy's pick this week, which makes it me next week.
I mean, you had me panicking. I was like, I haven't got a film in mind.
And for my second selection in a row, out of my 2 picks out of 2, Andy, out of context, randomly has mentioned my film in the last week to me, without any other need for it. Like last week, Leon came into our conversation for no reason before my last pick. So he has mentioned this film to me. This film stars one of mine and Andy's favourite pop stars. I've gone back to 2002 for an action-adventure thriller starring Vin Diesel called Triple X, which Andy mentioned to me randomly in the last week.
Hey, boy.
That's my for next time. Reactions for Triple X? Chris, are you looking for the DVD there? Look like you'd snapped your head.
No, I don't have a DVD. I think I've seen it before. I remember one part of it, if I remember correctly, is Rammstein.
Yes, they are. And also,
That's all I remember.
this is Tony Hawk's second best film as well.
Well, there we go. Something to look forward to. It is the original Triple X, just 3 X's, and
Yeah.
none of the other cool subtitle things to it. From 2002. So get looking for that. You have 7 days now to find out Triple X. Be careful Googling that one. And we will catch you next week for our down on the 10 Employment Podcast.